Hey everybody, welcome to day 4 of our AFT 101. Hopefully you are finding awesome ways to optimize the ways that you are already using Aroma Freedom technique in a positive way in your life. Today we're going to talk about the end of the technique, which is that part where we focus on affirmations. One of the things that I know for myself in the experience of doing clearing work through the AFT process, it usually takes me 2 or 3 rounds to start to shed off all of those extra comments and phrases and negative voices and thoughts that I've been repeating to myself in a way that makes me feel more confident about achieving my goal. So one of the ways we anchor this new reality is by using yet another oil along with an affirmation to anchor that new reality into our lives. So let me talk a little bit about what affirmations are and why they're so important to finish the AFT process by shifting your subconscious to do something differently. Louise Hay is, to me, the grandmother or the mother of affirmations. I have loved learning from her over the years, and it's easy to find her resources on Amazon or even on YouTube. You can find a lot of her meditations and guided imagery programs to listen to help reprogram your mind and lots of different affirmations. But for AFT, you are choosing a word or phrase to help retrain your subconscious mind. This is one of the things she says from her book, I Can Do It. Again, by Louise Hay. An affirmation opens the door. It's a beginning point on the path to change. In essence, you're saying to your subconscious mind, I am taking responsibility. I am aware that there is something I can do to change. When I talk about doing affirmations, I mean consciously choosing words that will either help eliminate something from your life or help create something new in your life. And for me, the value of doing that on a daily basis is really, really important because out of all the negative self-talk that we have going on in our minds, I choose to put aside that inner mean girl, that negative voice, and truly replace those thoughts with beautiful words that I see and I believe the divine speaks over us. So for me and my faith especially, I really feel like God intended for all of us to be made perfectly whole and beautiful in God's own image. And so when we are mean to ourselves or we criticize ourselves or we should all over ourselves, we are not being true to the creation that was us from the very beginning, knitted together in our mother's wombs. And so coming back to that truth, coming back to that divine reality with affirmations is one way that you can start to reprogram your subconscious mind. And again, from Dr. Purkis's book, an affirmation is a statement written in the present tense that describes the reality you desire to have, even though it has not manifested yet. So what you've done during AFT is you've cleared out those beliefs, feelings, and attitudes that are in direct conflict with the affirmation. And now what you're doing is using the essential oil to reconfigure that memory complex, and now using an oil blend like Transformation is one that's recommended for the process. I also find some clients that like to use Believe as another one, and using those oils can help anchor this new reality into your psyche and into your power. When I was going through my divorce, I found that valor on the bottoms of my feet was a really important part of my daily routine. So that might be another one that if you're feeling super broken or it's difficult to stand or take steps forward as you are creating this affirmation for yourself, use valor as a balancing tool, as a way that you're going to help intentionally put on courage, right? Put on valor and courage or belief or be transformed. 3 phrases that I like to use when I am helping teach people how to write affirmations is I am beautiful, I am successful, I am a beautiful child of God. I choose. Instead of wanting or needing, one of the things I found in conscious language, and you can Google that as well, Sonia Swan has amazing resources on conscious language. Also Marcella Von Harding and her amazing program, High Potential Academy or Highest Potential Academy. Love Marcella's work with conscious language as well. But I choose is direct and speaks to the fact that we're choosing this direction, we're choosing this path as something different. And then the other one I like is I create. Again, putting yourself in that active sense of creating the environment that you wish to belong to, being really clear about what it is that you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. Dr. Purkis says this on page 110 of his book. I love this set apart piece. To find a good affirmation organically, you can sometimes ask that inner voice, what is the positive voice saying now? Sometimes you've already heard the voice say something during that time where your beliefs are changing and you've made some notes about that. It might say something like, you've got this, or be open to change, or it's time to let go. This is your inner wisdom speaking. Once you clear out the negative voices, it is much easier to hear the positive guiding voice within. Some people describe this as their intuition, their logical mind, or even the Holy Spirit. In fact, those who have a biblical foundation may have a scriptural verse that comes to them during this affirmation time. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Whatever you have spontaneously heard during the clearing is the right affirmation for you to use. And we do this intentionally in the session because, again, you've cleared out the memory complexes, and now what you're doing is you're coming back around to ground yourself in a new reality, retraining that subconscious mind to believe something new. And we typically do this with a power pose as well. Amy Cuddy has an awesome YouTube video that I will post in our private Facebook group that you can check out later. Or you can just Google Amy Cuddy TED Talk about body language. And she cites that when we are, the research that she's done is when the subjects were asked to assume a power pose, either standing erect with their shoulders back and chest out, arms to the side and feet wider than the hips, or a weak pose of kind of sitting back and crossing their arms and being folded. The powerful subjects, the ones that were standing up tall and proud, they were the ones who were more prepared for the interview, and the interviewers felt like came in more confidently. So I also love this part too, where he cites her research. Amy tested the saliva of volunteers before and after using power postures and found that even biological markers significantly improved. Subjects had an increase in testosterone, which is associated with self-confidence and assertiveness, as well as a decrease in cortisol, which is a marker of stress levels. Lower cortisol indicates a reduction in the physiological stress response. When Dr. Purkis teaches to anchor in this new reality, in this new way that you are coming into your own, you're finding a power pose, whether it's hands on the hips and feet apart, or you're crossing your arms. We joke about this being Wonder Woman. I'm not so sure. Maybe something outstretched like this is very powerful instead of blocking your heart center, but something out like this. And then a lot of times people find that they like to do an embracing of something new. So raising your arms up. But an affirmation and power pose every day for about 2 to 3 days after you're finished working on your AFT session will help anchor in that new reality and start to formulate what it is that you are choosing to create in your life from this point on. One of the things I've heard Dr. Purkis say, and I found to be true for myself, is I will do an affirmation for about 2 or 3 days, and then I'll come up against something else that's kind of difficult for me. And so I will, instead of fighting that, I'll just go back into another AFT to find out what the next thing that I need to clear is. Because inevitably what happens is we fall back into the same patterns, and we have to keep on the journey of overcoming those negative voices. And it's so super helpful to really tap into our essential oils, the Aroma Freedom Technique rounds, and just the process of listening to that still small voice. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you've had a difficult time knowing what affirmations are, why they're so powerful, what it means to really choose a power pose and stand in your confidence and in your power, hopefully that's kind of connected with you. Because from that place, then right away, jot down a few action steps. What is it that you're going to do right away that's going to make a difference in how you are and how you are presenting yourself to the world, what you're overcoming, the goals that you have in line and in mind. What are the things the action steps that you can take right away, in addition to doing your affirmations 2 or 3 times a day? What can you do to put it into play so that you don't just fall back into overthinking your situation? Make a plan and stick to it. And that's another key part of making AFT work for you.